this world of data that we're in today, you don't have to be an enterprise Fortune 500 commercial organization to take advantage of some really smart customer data platforms.
Welcome to Velocitize Talks. I'm Andy North, and my guest today is Kurt Voelker, VP of Business Strategy and Growth at Forum One. Kurt, thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about Forum One and some of the things you're excited about right now and what unique business proposition is you guys bring to the market.
So Forum One is a full-service digital agency, and we're unique in that we work exclusively with mission-driven organizations. I know a lot of other agencies might have like creative roots or technology roots that are in the kind of web and internet and digital space. We were founded by some Kennedy School colleagues who were at work. One is at the World Bank, one was at the Eurasia Foundation, and they were focused on changing the world at their workplaces. This is like baby internet years, and so they saw the promise of the internet, digital solutions to help organizations like that. So that's why Forum One was founded. So that's what we're still doing today, is taking strategy, design, technology, working with organizations that are tackling education, poverty, health, both domestic and international, sustainability, all those types of big issues, and hopefully making a bigger positive impact.
How has digital marketing evolved, particularly in the nonprofit world and some of the NGO organizations that you work with? A lot of the times they tend to be somewhat behind the curve technologically, simply for expense reasons. How are you guys helping them with their digital marketing?
From a change perspective, one of the things that's happening now is that they have at their disposal tools and capabilities that they never did before. From a data perspective in particular, they'd be able to understand who their audiences are, how to reach them, where they've been, what they're doing. This world of data that we're in today, you don't have to be an enterprise Fortune 500 commercial organization to take advantage of some really smart customer data platforms and understand how to reach folks. So that's new and exciting, I think. And I also think that there's a new generation of NGO leaders who are out there that grew up almost digitally native now, and they are kind of transforming the way, and especially in this kind of the do-good space, the folks that are really trying to affect change. It's a younger generation, and they've got all the same sensibilities of the folks that are trying to sell Sprite and sell Coke and sell Nike shoes. Yeah.
Right. I want to get technical with you for just a minute. Sure. You've been a CTO before, and you deployed one of the larger Drupal deployments around before, and I wanted to ask you, what is your thoughts on the CMS industry, the content management system industry as it stands right now, and in particular the open source side of things?
It's an interesting time because I see the digital experience platforms, if you will, the things that are CMS at their core, but really they are adding on that customer data component, the ability to personalize, the ability to construct user journeys across not just a single web property, but multiple properties or multiple channels. So from the CMS perspective, I see, we see Adobe and we see Sitecore, and we see folks like Acquia in the open source space creating what they're calling experience platforms, which are really more than just a way to manage content for a single property. They're for managing experiences across multiple channels. I think that's the biggest change that we're seeing, and it's a challenge for the open source community. Drupal and WordPress, which are kind of the leaders, I would say, in the open source space. They've got to be able to adapt and begin to bring those things to them. They still, I think, serve as the core of those experience managers really, really well, and that's what we're doing. So kind of being able to take a best of breed approach and complement a really great open source CMS with the other technologies around it is still a good strategy, I think.
That's excellent. Are there any, you mentioned personalization, are there any other digital marketing trends that you're kind of excited about or you see coming in the next 3 to 5 years?
I don't know if it's a digital marketing trend, and I mentioned data a couple times, but I do think that data is just really, really important for mission-driven organizations on like 4 or 5 different levels. How they gain trust and transparently show the impact that they're having. I think that data is becoming increasingly important, everything from the media to decision makers, policy makers.
Yeah.
People get really attracted by a great, number story, right? So data matters there. It matters for their own internal businesses, like how they're making decisions on what services to be providing and to whom.
Right.
So data platforms for them to better manage their kind of own business intelligence are critical. And data for the sectors that they serve. So a lot of our clients that we work with are research centers. They're focused on finding the next great way to combat sea level rise or poverty. And so there's a lot of actual issue and research data, health metrics, environmental metrics, and data that the whole sector needs to be publicly available for all of us to be able to solve those challenges. So a lot of open data projects. And we see, the CMS is still at the core of a lot of those things, but there's a lot of things around it that they have to do. But so I think data is one thing that's, especially in the NGO space, that's really critical.
Given those younger markets and the fact that your clients are mission driven, are they meeting you halfway when you sort of try to market that this is our mission, this is what we're about, this is how we help?
Yeah.
Insert name here, or is there more skepticism still?
Yeah, I think that it's interesting because a lot of the NGOs that we work with, you can almost classify them as B2B. They're seeking the attention of other professionals whose job it is to fund research in a certain area or pass a bill, right? So it's they're marketing to other professionals who kind of have a stake in the game. So other academics, other researchers who are trying to solve the same problems that they're solving. So it doesn't tend to be as big of an issue, I wouldn't say. But when it comes to the reaching the engaged citizen or the man on the street to care about the issue, that's where it's hard, and that's where you have to do a lot of audience research. You got to really understand who it is that you're trying to move the needle with. So I know our team spent a lot of time trying to do just that. A lot of human-centered design, audience research that helps inform the solution that we're going to.
How are you bringing exceptional storytelling into some of the campaigns that you're working with your clients on?
I mean, I think the core of it is what I just said. It's really trying to understand, who it is that you're trying to reach, what's motivating them, connecting that to the real core brand attributes that you're trying to evoke, and that really are true to your own brand, right? So for the organizations, really helping them understand who they are and who they want to be so that they connect with the folks that they want to connect with in ways that are authentic.
Excellent. There is so much content in the marketplace right now. Are you finding that there's too much? Are you still helping your clients provide more and more content out there, or are you being a little more strategic about it?
That's a great question. And the short answer is, there's too much. We can't keep it on top of it all, and it just puts added pressure on the content producers to be creating great stuff, and it needs to be packaged in all sorts of different ways. And for our clients, a lot of their core output is insights and ideas. It's think of literally a policy paper that's 40 pages of research representing 3 years of their work, which isn't really the best stuff for Twitter, right?
Page turner there? Yeah.
Exactly. So helping them package that, get what is the tweetable components of this? What's the real core of the message so that you can package it in consumable ways that lead folks to a deeper understanding of what the real solution might be that they're trying to get out in the world.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. The use of social media in some might think be non-traditional social media uses and causes.
It's critically important for issue-driven organizations, just like commercial organizations. It's the way in which they engage with the media that's covering their sector in a lot of cases. So understanding who is covering your space and how to engage them on social media is important.
Right.
From a kind of perception standpoint, the way in which you're engaged, if you take academic or policy-focused content and try to expose it on Instagram, it can be challenging because you feel like your content isn't as snappy, right? So I think folks like The World Economic Forum is a good example of folks that are doing a really good job with like creating a brand perception in Instagram that is about the issues that they're covering. Mm-hmm. It's not just about themselves. But yeah, it's a big driver of attention for them, and they have to engage in order to be heard.
How do you transform a website user, whether they're B2B or B2C, from just a visitor, just someone seeking information, into someone who's more passionate about the organization?
Another great question. I think that the key goes all the way back to having as good information as you can about what motivates that particular individual. Mm-hmm. We like to start by, like other digital marketers, with persona-driven understanding of who it is that they're trying to reach. Mm-hmm. Today, we now have tools that we can actually segment in a lot more micro ways to personalize an experience. But in order to get someone to go from like curious to like, I'm a passionate supporter, you're probably not going to do that through a single user journey. You've got to create an experience that's kind of layered, so you have something that's different for different people, and hopefully you're able to get them to at least sign up for your email newsletter, come back, engage more deeply in a different way. So trying to create experiences that have real purposeful journeys with incremental engagement that is meaningful for those users.
Okay. As a technophile at heart, are there any technologies that you're excited that are either here or soon to be here?
I think that the technologies that are driving personalization, the ability for us to not just design one web experience, but for everybody, but a unique experience for every person, are pretty exciting. Mm-hmm. I still think that they are really hard to engineer really, really effectively. It's really easy to overassume that, if I put a call to, sign up for this event about this topic, that it's going to be so much more compelling if they just came off of reading a blog post of the same topic. Right. But I do think that it changes the way folks think, or organizations think about, or have to think about how they're reaching their audiences. So it means that they have to think more like a political campaign or a canvasser who's got the ability to understand how everybody who comes to this front door, everyone whose door you're knocking on, so to speak, about them. So how do we really personalize that experience? So it changes how you want to craft your message, how you think about the website itself, what it should be doing, what it could be doing, right, what it should be asking.
That's excellent.
So it's kind of interesting.
One of the questions we like to ask our guests is there a book, a blog, or a podcast that you're interested in or reading that you would want to share with our viewers?
Yeah, sure. Podcast. I'm a big fan of 99% Invisible. I'm sure a lot of the folks that are in the agency space are too. It's about the kind of connection of design's impact on really anything and everything. Mm-hmm. Fascinating stuff.
My guest today has been Kurt Voelker, Vice President of Business Strategy and Growth at Forum One. Kurt, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.